Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, not exactly the best. Didn't expect to be going live right now. Actually, I'm gonna be honest with you. I was actually landing from my. If you follow me on Twitter, you know I was taking a little Florida trip. Good afternoon, Christian. Thanks for coming through, brother. I was down in Florida, and as I land, I get a text. It was like, you know how your phone's on airplane mode, you turn it on, and it's like, okay, let me check my text. The first one I get is from a very well-known, one of my good buddies. He's a Notre Dame beat writer. And he was like, all I saw, he was like, let me go back and look. Let's tell you right now. Um, he just said thoughts on Seider. And right away, I was like, oh no. I went to Twitter. I saw the Pete, whatever his name, Pete Nakos for On Three. And that was about it. That was wraps for Coach Seider here at Penn State. We'll let everybody trickle in a little bit before we get going. Appreciate you guys coming through, man, on this Super Bowl Sunday. It was supposed to just be a calm, exciting day. We were just going to try to see Saquon and a couple other people, Jahan win the Super Bowl. But now we got to deal with this and find your new running backs coach. So what's up, Ashley? Much love, Harper. Appreciate you guys coming in. Jacob, my golfing was great down in Florida. I'm not going to lie. It was awesome. I'm not going to lie. I played 45 holes, I think, and Florida's like all flat. It was going pretty well. I had a good time out there. I had my first birdie of the year, so that was exciting. It was on hole 1 yesterday, and then it all went downhill from there. Part of the reason was probably the double tequila shot at the turn. That was probably a little piece of it, but you know how that goes. Yeah, people aren't super big fans of this move by Seider. I mean, initially, this is what I will say, guys. He was here for 7 years as an assistant, not a OC or DC, but like as an assistant coach. That's a long time to be somewhere. I mean, obviously, like Terry Smith's been here for that long, but like Terry Smith is Penn State through and through, so he's going to be here. But for Seider you said you just saw him at the waffle shop. For Seider to be here for 7 years, I mean, he's been here for a long time. Charles asked, what role did Seider take? Seider went lateral. He is the running backs coach at Notre Dame with Marcus Freeman. And look, I mean, I don't know what to say. It's hard. I think Seider obviously wanted to go coach under Marcus Freeman. He was excited about that opportunity. A lot of people have asked about the Lawn Boys. I would say Lawn Boys is over. I think Lawn Boys is over because that was Seider's thing. It was the same thing. If you remember Sean Spence, who was the D-line coach for like Shaka Toney, Micah wasn't really one of those. He was playing linebacker, but like all those guys, Sharif Miller, they were the Wild Dogs, and that left with him. So like I think it kind of like leaves with the coach. I'm not gonna lie. So I think the Lawn Boys they're through and through. Yeah, that's a good point, Dean. I wanted to make that point. A lot of people are asking why now? Why now? Is it official yet? It's basically official. I mean, once all those national guys are, I mean, it's pretty much a done deal. His kids are all graduated. So Seider obviously had his son Jaden, who played on the team for a while. He's been on the staff and helping out, but then he had 2 younger daughters as well. And I believe his youngest is pretty much graduated now. So that's a big thing. I mean, people don't really talk about that, guys. Like, I think sometimes we forget that the coaches are just human beings just like us. Like, would you want to uproot your kid when they're like a freshman in high school? That is definitely something you're thinking about. So when they're a senior, when they're basically done, it's like, okay, now it's time for a move. So I just want to say, like, there was the possibility that Seider was kind of eyeing up this offseason. Like, hey, even a couple years ago, hey, when my youngest daughter's out of high school, I'm going to be thinking about maybe wanting to make a move because I've been here for 7 years at that point. Like, I get it. I know everybody's not very happy with him getting out of there and leaving, especially to the team that knocked us out of the playoffs. I know it hurts. But so I think a big piece of that was, real life decision-making of your family. And that is definitely a piece of it. Yes, I would consider this a lateral move for sure. But we've seen lateral moves. Speaking of our new coach, Jim Knowles. So we have seen them recently. Nittany Nation Recruiting says Messiah Mickens and Kamon Spell need to stay put. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. I want to get into – I feel like obviously I have a cool perspective of being recruited, especially by Coach Seider, but this whole staff. So we're going to get into that in a second about kind of what that means. Are guys going to stay committed? any of this have to deal with the business of them throwing so much money at the defensive coordinator? I mean, look, I already saw tweets about it. I mean, look, I'll say this. No, like, I don't think that was like the main thing at all, even close to that. But there is a little bit of ego involved. Like, let's say, and I don't know the situation at all of like him asking for a pay raise or anything like that. But that's a thing. You might be asking for a pay raise, and then someone else comes in and gets $3.1 million. And it's like, yo, what happened to my money? I'm not saying that's what happened at all. I'm just saying, like, that is a real possibility. And I can guarantee you, anytime there is a lateral move, it is generally because the money is there too. I mean, look at Jim Knowles. Ohio State was, I mean, what? He was at like 1.5 around there. I mean, I believe Ohio State's final offer for him was 2.6, 2.7, and he got 3.1 million from Penn State, and he moved laterally. So a lot of times with lateral moves, what comes with that is that more money is being offered. I'll be honest. If I agree, there's a reason South Bend, Notre Dame, and Penn State were my final two choices. Jack Straw said South Bend is a dump. Campus is nice. I agree with you there. It's much nicer here, but they're both in the middle of nowhere. It's not that different. Although I do believe Happy Valley, especially in the summer, one of the most beautiful places around. All right, let's kind of get into this for a little bit. I've known Juwan Seider since I was 15 years old. He recruited me since he got here in 2018. I'm a huge fan of his. And like I said, I know it hurts. He's been here for 7 years. A lot of times, assistant coaches do not stay around that long. The big question, I do not think this is going to affect Nick or Katron. Now, the reasons why I say that is because we know, obviously, they inked a big deal to come back. I think I talked about the main 5 guys, Drew Aller, Nick Singleton, Katron Allen, Dennis Sutton, and Zane Durant. I think they're all over $1 million. I'm going to be real with you. I think one of those, I think we know which one, maybe the QB is probably over $2 million. So as much as those aren't technically binding contracts, because we saw what happened with that Wisconsin safety that went down and transferred without even entering the transfer portal. And there's a lot of weird things going on. But at the same time, I just don't see them making any moves after, like I said, they already inked their deal. They're in a good place. Now, are they pissed? You bet your top dollar they're pissed. Because trust me, they didn't know this was coming. I don't think many knew this was coming. Because I'm going to be honest, Seider was posting, when we got Jim Knowles, Seider was posting, hip, hip, hooray on Twitter, throwing memes out. So I clearly, to me, I mean, this feel like it came out of left field for sure. I mean, I was not expecting. Like I said, I landed on the plane and I'm getting a text from a Notre Dame beat writer like, yo, give me the scoop on Seider. And I'm like, why do you want the scoop on Seider? What do I need to do? Open up Twitter. Oh, crap. We lost you on Seider. So saying all to say, like I said, I'm sure Nick and Fat Man are not very happy right now. But look, it is what it is. I don't think we're going to lose either of them. Now, if you want to talk about losing guys, I think that would more be looking at the recruit side of this thing, talking about the running back commits that we do have committed right now. Messiah Mickens in the 2026 class. I don't really see him leaving. That he's been committed for like almost 2 years now. He's from Harrisburg. I would find that hard to believe for him to leave at that point, just kind of being the hometown guy, being an hour and a half away. Obviously, you commit to a position coach, but it's kind of bigger than that. We're going to get into that in 1 second because the other running back commit, Kamon Spell, a 2027 running back that is committed to Penn State. He's like the 57th ranked player in his class, 3rd ranked running back in his class. I'd worry about that one a little bit more just because he hasn't been committed as long. And that signing day is very, very far away when you are a 2027 commit. And he's also a PA guy. He's McKeesport, so he's local. But I think those are definitely 2 things to keep an eye on. No, here's what I will say. I went through this. I literally went through this with Limegrover. I committed to Matt Limegrover. And I remember I was actually on my way to the Future 50 event with like Chop Robinson, Caleb Williams, a couple other guys. And that's like the Under Armour All-American thing, but they bring down some juniors. So I'm in the van on the way to media day, like that they're holding for all the guys. And I got a text. I think it was from Tyler Bowen at the time. Shout out Tyler Bowen, the offensive line coach at Ohio State now. Tyler Bowen texted me. He's like, yo, just want to let you know, you're our guy. Wanted to tell you before it comes out. Limegrover's gone. You want me to be honest? It's a little bit of a different situation. I was kind of happy that Limegrover was gone. I kind of committed in spite of I guess I'm saying that wrong. Sorry. It's been a long trip, guys. I literally just got back. For you, those of you that are getting in, I just got back into PA. I traveled from the Harrisburg airport. I once again was wearing shorts and a sweatshirt. So people were calling me John Fetterman. If you missed that on my Twitter, when I was leaving on my way to Florida at the Harrisburg airport, some woman came up to me with her phone, took a photo of me from behind, comes up to me, shows me her phone, and says, "Look at this photo of you. You look like John Fetterman." And I'm like, "Oh, thanks. Okay, really appreciate that." But anyways, going back to this, obviously Trout was a very big upgrade from Lime Grover. I don't think we are necessarily going to have that big of an upgrade just because Seider was so great. I mean, he was, from what I understand, he had turned down multiple offensive coordinator gigs, and he was really kind of hoping to get a head coaching gig for a while there, is kind of what it seemed like. So I think that's why everybody's so shocked, because it was like, hey, if he leaves for an OC gig somewhere big or even a head coaching job at kind of a smaller level school, we won't hate on that. I think that's where everybody's a little shook up, is just the fact that he's going to be the running backs coach at Notre Dame. Like we said, a lateral move. Now, let's talk about these recruits for one more second from that mindset. I want to talk about the mindset of a player who is committed and their coach leaves. Like I said, I had that with Lime Grover. And I remember Franklin even said to me, he said, "Look, you committed to us and you committed to me specifically. I want you to trust that I am going to put you in the best case scenario. That means giving you the best coach possible." So if you're wondering what Franklin is saying to the recruits right now, I can tell you, because he gave me that same pitch. That's what he's basically saying. Hey, trust me. I got you. I am going to figure this out. I don't know where we go from here. Like I said, we can sit here and throw, a million different names around. He's calling. I did talk to a couple sources. Franklin was already calling people around last night, trying to fill the role, figuring out who he was going to plug in, because that is the hard part with this season being so much later. Is we're February 9th. This doesn't normally happen this late in the year. Like, it's normally this movement happens like early January. Like, speaking of when Lime Grover got fired, it was like, I think it was like still December. It was like December 29th, December 30th, something like that. So you have to move with urgency if you're Franklin and company, because you're already in winter workouts. You're already installing the offense. You're already moving along. You got to get that running back coach in here ready to go. A couple of people throwing some names around. If we're going to throw one name out, my favorite, now this would be a home run hit, would be Stan Dayton. He was the head coach at Temple, but he has kind of been, he just finished up. He's not anywhere right now. That's kind of why his name's getting thrown around. Just finished 2 or 3 years of being the head coach at Temple, but he's been a running back coach almost his whole career. He was at Ohio State from 2012 to 2014. So I think he was there for their natty in 2014 with Zeke Elliott, all that stuff. So I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, we can sit here, throw a million different names around. We saw what happened with the Jim Knowles search. It can go a million different ways. So that's kind of where we are at, guys, right now. Let me go through the chat. Oh, you guys are active in here. Appreciate you guys. Between YouTube, Twitter, we got over 1,300 people in here. You guys are the best. Let's see here. I'm okay with it. Could be a family move. Yeah. I mean, look. All right, I'm just going to address this right now because everybody's saying it. Everybody's saying the whole, wife didn't like here. At the end of the day, he was here for 7 years. She clearly didn't not like it that much. She was clearly fine for a while here. At the end of the day, I'm going to tell you right now, majority of wives don't like it in State College because it's the middle of nowhere and it's snowy and it's cold. Like, I'm just keeping it real with you guys. So, no, that was not it's not some big thing that his wife forced him out. That's not it. I'm sorry to burst your bubble. I know that's on the On 3 pages right now, but it's definitely, there's more to it than that. I can promise you that. One thing I do want to talk about is his recruitment of Florida. Now, I will say, obviously, that is the big upside to Juwan Seider. Is not only is he a great coach, he is one of the best recruiters in the game. Because, guys, just talking about Seider, the culture that he brings, the way he talks to people. I loved him. That was the type of, we talked about the assistant coaches that Franklin has. They're all borderline elite. Now with Seider getting out of here right now, obviously I think we're going to be okay. And the good news is all our assistant coaches on the offensive side, outside of kind of one, we're looking really good. We're in a good place. Danny O'Brien is a really good up-and-coming quarterback coach. Obviously, we know what we got with Trout. I think we got the best offensive line in college football next year. I'm willing to say that. And I think that'll help any running back coach coming along. And that's what I will say here. Talking about trying to get the best running back coach replacement, it's a hell of a job to come in with 2 running backs that both could have went to the NFL. And then on top of that, you're saying, hey, we got a quarterback that can be balanced. We're going to have one of the best quarterbacks in all of college football. And then also we will have the best offensive line and the best offensive line coach around for you to coach these guys up. And that's what they get to run behind. That's a pretty good sell. I genuinely, I don't know. And that's why, it is, I guess you can say it is questionable. Like I said, he has been here for 7 years, but it is questionable why Seider would leave maybe one of the better, I guess, assistant coaching positions out there. Being the running backs coach at Penn State, it's a good gig, especially now. Maybe not so much when like Saquon was playing just because the offensive line was so bad. But, now it's like this, we turn this offensive line around. Come run behind this. This is, we're blocking well. So let's see what we got here. Yeah, I was talking about the recruitment. I mean, it's like, yeah, you can say like we get commits from Florida, but like who was actually panned out besides Zane Durant from Florida in the past like 6 years? I don't know. I could be missing like one other name, but for the most part, like I think someone actually did some like Penn State beat writer did a thing on that. Like how our Florida, this is like a year ago, how like our Florida recruits that we get don't actually even do anything. K-Tron, okay, good point. Who said that? To be fair, K-Tron Allen went to IMG for like a year or two. K-Tron's from the DMV. So like, I get what you're saying. I do agree. I understand he was a Florida guy, but like true Florida guys, I don't know. Like I said, obviously K-Tron and Zane, but outside of that, I mean, we've gotten a lot of Florida guys. Have they really panned out that well? I'm not that worried about us losing that Florida recruitment piece too much. I'm going to be honest. So yeah, I mean, look, we'll see what happens. Obviously, like I said, we have some guys that are committed from the state of Florida. We talked about the running backs a little bit. I am really not worried at all about Messiah Mickens. Like I said, he is a hometown guy, been committed for 2 years. I think we are good there. Yeah, somebody said, what does Saquon think? Yeah, I don't think Saquon's too worried about it right now, I'm going to be honest. I am kind of wondering that, though. Like, I'm sure Saquon heard about it. So, like, I'm wondering, like, how much that, like, he's actually thinking about that. I'm sure he's got a couple other things he's a little bit more focused on. Somebody said Kevon Lee. Shout out Kevon Lee. That's my guy, man. So what was the reason? Just a change of pace, or was there a conflict at all? I mean, look, listen, at the end of the day, like I said, who knows? Obviously, the coaching game, there's always egos involved and all of that. But, like, for a guy that was the running back coach for 7 years, you clearly don't have that big of an ego if you're okay with just being that role for a long time. And like everybody gave him his props. He was always one of the best running back coaches in all of college football. And like I said earlier, we've been waiting for him to leave pretty much. It's kind of been like we're on the edge of our seats, like, oh, where's he going to go be the offensive coordinator at? Where is he going to go be a head coach at? So I just think any of the anger that's coming from the fans right now is just the fact that he went lateral to the team that just beat us a month ago. So it hurts. But yes, the answer, in my opinion, for the most part, is probably money. I think he got a lot more money than he was making here. And look, you can say it's like whatever, but hey, I guarantee you, if you got offered, I don't know the numbers. No one does, because I don't even know if it's officially a done deal. I mean, it is, but for the most part, it is. We'll get the details on the contract here pretty soon, but I mean, look, he's clearly getting more money. You can't blame him. Like I said, and I always kind of equate that with like the recruit stuff and going elsewhere. Like, look, if you get offered more money at your job, you're going to take a look at least. You're going to go check it out, and you very well will probably leave to that opportunity because it is more money. So you guys are hilarious in the comments right now. I'm loving this. This is actually amazing. Would Singleton or Allen transfer once again? I do not know. I don't think they will. Like I said, they are set in stone. They are fully developed. We know what we have with them. They know what this next season is. Everybody came back. Let's just talk about this for a second. Like, everybody came back, Deny, Zane, Drew, everybody, because, and most people, even I said, if you watched my wide receiver 0 catches video, I was almost certain that both Katron and Nick would not be coming back. I mean, that was a huge shock to me too. But, it's clear the mission here was not just come back because Coach Jawan Seider is our running back coach. It was come back because we feel like we can win a national championship. That's the vibe of this team. And I remember my dad actually back in the day, he was saying to me, this isn't like 2021 probably, or maybe it might have been 22 at that point. I think it was when all the 22 classes of freshmen, like Denai, Nick, and all those guys. And he was like, yo, that 2024 season is going to be a huge one for you guys. When Drew and all those guys are third-year players, that's going to be your natty run. Well, that was a season that just passed, and I think we were expecting to lose most of those guys. Well, the majority of them came back. Obviously, I think KJ and Kobe were the ones that were kind of like on the line a little bit about leaving or staying. But for the most part, if you told me we're going to get all those main 5 guys, Zane, Denai, Katron, Nick, and Drew, I'm feeling really good about where we're at with the best offensive line around, and obviously the best defensive coordinator that some people are saying they're faulting Jim Knowles for taking all the money out of the bank account. I don't know if that was necessarily that, but hey, like I said, he obviously went out and got a little bit more money, so it is what it is. At the same time, yeah, and you guys mentioned, I mean, I'm taking Nick and Katron. Those are my guys. I blocked for him, but going to coach Price and Love at Notre Dame, he's got some good running backs there. And the third guy too, what was his name? He caught that ball on us. I think that was 24? He caught that wheel route on Kobe that gave him the double move. But he's got an embarrassment of riches over there at running back at Notre Dame. So it is what it is. My man said Elliot Washington. Shout out Elliot Washington from Florida. Let's see. This is the thing that's the hardest for me to get with the year that we have lined up. Why now? Yeah, I kind of agree with you there. Look, I don't have all the answers at the end of the day. I'm a little bit with you on that one. It's like, yo, you put in 7 years. We got all the guys coming back. Seider, why? I'm with you on that. Like I said, I'm trying to explain why I believe and just kind of talking to some folks. Why it happened. I think I'm sure there's a multitude of reasons. Like I said, I think it's money. I think it is the fact that, obviously, like I said, his kids have graduated. In my opinion, like I said, that is so much bigger than people realize. You do not want to imagine uprooting a 16-year-old kid that's a sophomore with friends and they've lived there for the past 5 or 6 years of their life. You're not going to do that to your kids for the most part. Like that was Seider's kind of, not going to say that was his rationale for not leaving, but that was a big reason why he didn't leave. Well, that's not the case anymore. So it's like, okay, my kids are all done. We're good. Let me start to shop around a little bit. And guess what? I mean, everybody has an agent. Coach Seider has an agent. All these guys have agents. And I bet his agent came back to Seider and was like, yo, Notre Dame wants to throw a bag at you. He's like, it's a pretty good gig. I want to go coach. I would love to go coach under Marcus Freeman. And, next thing, one thing leads to another. And it's like, yeah, it's been 7 going on year 8. Like I said, it's hard for me just because it felt like Seider was so Penn State through and through. Like he was the most, like obviously we have Terry Smith on staff who was a captain here, all that type of stuff. So it's like he's staying put. But Seider he's obviously not a Penn Stater, but like he was the most Penn State feeling coach that didn't actually go here. So it kind of hurts. Landon, in your opinion, really how important is a position coach? Is this disruptive to the quality of the room? Look, yes, I mean, it's the coach you interact with the most outside of your strength and conditioning staff, which I think is our biggest secret weapon and why our running backs are so elite a lot of the time. Chuck Losey and the gang, they're staying put. So don't worry about that. Like, we're still going to be very good. And especially like a running backs coach. I mean, look, it is, and at the end of the day, I've talked about this, when you love your coach and you got, true love for him, like we saw with Manny Diaz and how that defense acted with him. And let's just be real here. We saw how the defense acted with Tom Allen and how they acted with Manny Diaz. It wasn't the same thing. It wasn't the, turn the ball over and jumping up on the sidelines with Manny Diaz, shoulder bumping, handing him the football when you get a turnover. Like, we've seen what that looks like. And it's possible to have that transition. Like, I'll tell you, talking about Tyler Bowen earlier, who's now the O-line coach at Ohio State. He was the tight ends coach before Ty Howe. And he had Pat Freiermuth, Brenton Strange, Tyler Warren for 1 year, obviously Theo Johnson for a year. But we went right into Ty Howe, and they love Ty Howe. They play their butts off for Ty Howe. He means everything to them. So just because and like I said, that was the same way with Bowen. Everybody loved Bowen. So just because you did love your coach doesn't mean that you're not going to love the next one, but it's going to take a little bit of time to get used to. I will tell you that. I'm going to be honest. So I don't think it's super disruptive. It would be way more disruptive, obviously, if it was a coordinator because it's their playbook. This is more just kind of how you want to play for him. And then there's like little coaching styles. Like I'm sure they will be, whoever comes in as the running back coach, there will be little things that he likes to do different. Hey, Coach Seider liked this footwork on inside zone. Hey, we're going to do it this way. This is how I like to do it. That's kind of the adjustment period for, when you have a new position coach. Outside of that, it's not too deep. It's kind of just more like the mental. Like I said, it's kind of just like more the mental side of it. Like I'll just tell you, like talking to the guys, like obviously a lot of guys were kind of happy that Lime Grover left back in the day. Like it was like a good thing. So, and there was like a lot of drills that guys didn't really like that we were doing, and a lot of things that he taught that we didn't like. Trout came in, did a lot of things that we did like. So, and I'm not saying I don't think that's Seider at all. I think the guys loved what he taught and kind of how he went up, about everything and the way he just coached in general. But I mean, that's the other thing. The coaching styles. That's a big difference of, are they a yeller? Are they the type of coach that's going to bring you to the side, whispering your, hey, listen, we got you. We're going to whatever, blah, blah, blah. Like there is different coaching styles of how coaches go about it. There's some that will just get red in the face, like screaming at you. And like, for example, that was kind of Yursich. I remember, I'll never forget, only once. I didn't get yelled at a lot. I didn't MA too much. MA is a missed assignment. And so I pull around on this, like it's a play action pass, and I'm pulling from left guard all the way around. Like it's a fake pull. And so I pull, and Yursich had told me multiple times, he's like, yo, you got to pull deep on this. You got to pull deep on this. And I didn't pull deep enough. I pulled pretty shallow. And he got up in my face and was like red, spitting. He's like, Tango, what are you doing? And for example, I've kind of been around. I've seen Koto-Nicky's not really like that. Koto-Nicky is more, I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to put my arm around you and say, listen. Hey, this is how you got to fix this. Pull a little bit deeper. Come around. You're going to be all right. Get it on the next rep. Let's go. That's where the difference can be. So I'm just like that. That's just kind of my example of how the coaching styles. And look, that can be hard for some guys to adjust to that. I am sure that is a real thing. Nittany Nation says, I wonder if Andy Koto-Nicky has any suggestions on filling the job. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he, throw his hat in the ring of a couple guys he knows. But like I said, I mean, Franklin's obviously are already kind of, making calls around the nation, calling different guys. Like I said, it is harder. It's just so much later because of the playoffs and where it was. We are now, what is it, February 9th? Yeah, I mean, it's just like, I feel like the coaching cycles are never this late in college football, really. So my man Z-Man said, I trust Coach James Franklin on this one. Hey, I mean, look, like I said, that's why I committed to Coach Franklin. I didn't know. I mean, there was a good week lull, at least maybe 2 weeks before we got Trout. I know it was at least a week. It was about a week, but before we picked up Coach Troutwine. So I remember still Trout calling me. Shout out Trout. We'll take it. I mean, look, we have the best offensive line in college football now. He deserves some credit. It took him only about 4 or 5 years to get this thing all the way turned around, because the offensive line used to be the freaking punching bag. And I remember he was just like, he called me up and like, yo, I'm going to make this offensive line room great. We're going to get this thing done. Put your trust in me, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, look, coach, I'm already good. I'm committed. We're locked in. So hopefully whoever we bring in has that very similar mindset, and I think we will. Coach Franklin has done a great job picking assistant coaches that are not only just great coaches, but fit in well with the culture. You get what I'm saying? Like it's right now, like what we have with Dex, with Howe, with Trout, with Terry Smith, with Deion Barnes. Like there are a bunch of, Coach Franklin loves to say this, high production, low maintenance. It's not a bunch of assistant coaches. I don't think Jawan Seider was either. Like I was around him for a while. He was not high maintenance. He was a very low maintenance guy with high production. But that's the type of guys that Coach Franklin wants to bring around. So he's not going to bring in some big ego guy that's going to try to like take over at the running back coach role. Like he's going to find the right guy. So if it takes a little bit, it takes a little bit. But like I said, he's already was making calls last night. My man said Dan Connor. Let's see. Now we need the wide receiver room to turn it around. Yeah. I'm with you there. Look, we need to hopefully get one more wide receiver here in the spring transfer portal. That's obviously going to be big. I think we need to fill a couple slots. We're going to need a Mike linebacker. That is for sure. Obviously, Kobe King left. The veteran leadership of Tyler Elsdon is also gone there. And I guess it would be kind of like Tamir Robinson right now. And I don't really know if he's necessarily ready to step into a starting role right now at the Mike linebacker spot. So, and that's something that we haven't had to worry about a ton because it was Ellis Brooks back in like 2020, 2021. And then Kobe started, I think it was his redshirt freshman year in 22, and Kobe King started all the way through. So we haven't really had to worry about that Mike linebacker role in a while. I think that is going to be a big one, a really big one. But look, at the end of the day, like you guys are saying, Coach Franklin has been filling these vacancies in the coaching roles very well. And it is clear to me that we have all the support we need from the university, from the people up top. So, it's not going to be, I think he may have, stretched out the bank account a little bit, so to speak, with throwing $3.1 million per year at Jim Knowles. But we'll still be able to get a very good running back coach. I'm not too worried about it. Like I said, the biggest thing for me is just how the guys in the running backs room are going to adjust to that different coaching style when, and I think it's almost harder because when you're kind of expecting it as a player, it's like, whatever. Like I said, I keep talking about Lime Grover, and it's different because, like I said, no one really liked Lime Grover. It wasn't really secret about that. But, I expected it. I was kind of like waiting for that hat to drop. But like with this, I don't think anybody expected this. I didn't. Nick, Katron, Messiah Mickens, any of them. So it's a little bit harder to digest. And it's kind of like, it would just be like your girlfriend breaking up with you out of nowhere. It's just like, yeah, we're done. And it's like, yo, we were doing well. Like we just went out to dinner and you said you love me. And then we hung out afterwards at my place. Like, what's going on? That's kind of what it feels like with Coach Seider a little bit. Like, I'm going to be honest. Someone said asking about Anthony Specca at the linebacker room. Yeah, Anthony Specca's looking good. I'm not going to lie. People are really, really high on him in the building. So I'm excited about him. It's a possibility. We'll see if Specca can step up. Obviously, still a young guy, but I'm really bullish on him. I like him a lot. We got a couple really, really, really talented young cats in the DB room too. I remember when I was in the barbershop a couple months ago, Jalen Reed, really high on a couple of those young guys. Kenny's in there. We'll dive into that as we get more into the offseason. I'm excited about that. Is it too late to pull a coach from another Power 4 program? Well, clearly not, considering that Notre Dame did it to us. So, no, it's not too late. And like I said, I think we are now adjusting into this new school world of college football where stuff's going to happen later. Like at the end of the day, like where we sit right now, it's February 9th. Spring ball starts for some people in 3 weeks. So even less than 3 weeks in some instances. So like we got to go. There's definitely a little bit of an adjustment period to like, hey, everything's a little bit later now because of the college football playoffs. But spring ball still hasn't changed. Like we got to strap up the pads here in 3 weeks, which is freaking crazy. We're going to talk about that. Like we got to talk about that soon. There needs to be like an overhaul of spring ball at the end of the day because making these guys put the pads back on in 3 weeks is, as you guys know, I'm big on player safety, and it's kind of crazy to make them do that. But we got to figure this out soon. I would bring back Kajana Carter. Now that'd be fun. Look, I'll send him a text right now. We'll see what Keith thinks, and we'll see if he gets back to me. But time is running tight for sure. We have to figure this out because they're going to have to get in. They're going to have to get used to Kotonicki's offense and then figure out, like I said, that mesh. How do we fit together? What are the little things that this new running back coach is going to implement? And, what kind of things is he going to say? Okay, this is what Kotoniki does. How do I adjust? All that type of stuff. Um, yeah, no, obviously not. Yeah, Kajana is not coming back here. Yeah, he is. He has a couple different companies, I think. Kajana's doing well, living down in Florida. Him and OJ McDuffie, actually, they live like 5 doors down from each other. I had OJ on earlier this year, and OJ McDuffie used to have, well, he still does. He doesn't really play anymore because he's old, but he used to have a basketball court down in Florida. And he said that like Scottie Pippen, all these different guys used to come run 3v3s on OJ McDuffie's court. I think Kajana was a little bit involved in that, but like Kajana's a little short guy, so maybe he wasn't as good as basketball. But yeah, man. Yeah, that's about all I got right now. I don't know. You guys can leave some more questions below. I'm kind of just chilling out until the Super Bowl. What is it, 2:30? We got about 4 hours till the Super Bowl starts. Let me know in the comments. What are you guys picking up? What are you eating tonight for the Super Bowl? I got to know. I'm sure a lot of you guys are drinking. I'm sure a lot of you guys are Eagles fans, so I don't know. Maybe I don't like to eat when the Steelers are in big games. Hasn't been a while since the Steelers have been in a big game, so not too worried about it. But yeah, let me know what you guys are going to pick up right now. Yeah, I do. If you are wondering, yes, I do think this loss probably hurts the most in the recruiting department more than anything. We're going to be fine. The running backs are going to be fine. Trust and believe. Nick and Katron are still going to be Nick and Katron. I just, and like I said, the Florida recruits didn't pan out that well. I mean, obviously, like I said, I know Katron was technically Florida, but he was only there for about a year or two. He's a DMV guy. He's a VA guy. Zane Durant was the main one. I actually have a good story about Zane Durant. I remember I had some random kid that didn't come here, but me and Nick Dawkins always got given recruits. So when it's official visit weekend in June, there's normally guys that the coaches always pick because they know they're going to do the right thing. And then you also have to look after the recruit. You have to make sure they're not going to do anything dumb. So obviously, me and Nick Dawkins being who we are, we always got chosen to be a host for the recruit. And I'll never forget Zane Durant's official visit because he really wasn't sure. Like we would always like be really real with the players. Like we would sit there and wrap it up and we'd be like, yo, like, what are you thinking? Like you say, like you want to come here for real? Like, or like you don't really want to come here? Like we would ask him that because we wanted to know how much time to put in. We'd be like, yo, are you going to commit or not? And some of them would be like, nah, bro, I'm just here for the weekend. Like I wanted to come hang out with my boys. And we're like, all right, cool. Like we didn't hate on them. We're just like, all right, cool. Then I get to know everything I need to know. And I don't got to put no time into it. But I remember Zane was like, yeah, I don't know, man. I think I want to come up here, but like it's cold. And like it was obviously the summertime, but we had to do a little convincing of Zane Durant. He was teaching me and Nick Dawkins some Florida lingo. And it was cool to get to know him. Like I said, he's always been like a low-key, down-to-earth guy, doesn't like to party, none of that. Like he just chills out, doesn't drink, doesn't do none of that type of stuff. Like he just stays out the way. I love Zane so much, man. But sign out to say that's really the only Florida hit that we've had in the past like 5 or 6 years. So I don't think it's that big of a deal. It's just, as my man One Take State just said, it's just a running back coach. Look, that's a good point. I mean, he was the assistant offensive coordinator, but like at the end of the day, like I'm gonna be honest, like it was Kotoniki's offense. That was his role. I'm surprised he didn't want to go be an OC because like I think Seider did a great job. If you remember back when what was that? Well, I guess that was like the end of last year. I thought him and Hal did a great job being kind of co-offensive coordinators. And speaking of that, I do think Kotoniki was very close to leaving this past year. Obviously, that we know that West Virginia job was looming for him. I mean, probably Andy Kotoniki's done after this year at Penn State. I mean, I don't want to put a cap on anything, but most likely he wants to go be a head coach somewhere, as most guys do. Seems to me like Ty Howell wants to be the offensive coordinator here at Penn State. So, and I kind of think we have both of them. I think we have Dan Connor waiting in the wings. He's going to be the linebackers coach. Give him some time. But I am really high on Dan Connor. I know some people, I had mentioned him initially for the defensive coordinator. I admitted like that's obviously he's not ready for that at all yet. But I think if we can keep Knowles for 2 years, I think Dan Connor's next in line, and I think Ty Howell's next in line. I think those are two guys that are Penn State lettermen and that the players absolutely would die for. Like we would go to war for both of those two guys. You don't say that about every single coach, but I think we kind of have them in the waiting. That is for sure. So we're in a very good place, guys. Like, at the end of the day, I know this sucks. Let's just bring this all back in. Let's get some perspective here. We're going to be all right. We still have, in my opinion, the best coaching staff in all of college football. Notre Dame now taking ours and adding that to theirs. They might have a argument for that. Den Brock does a really good job, their offensive coordinator. But we're in a great place. We still have all the pieces to the puzzle. Like I said, at the end of the day, the running back coach isn't that huge of a deal. Ooh, that's a really good one. Someone just said I should get Journey Brown on the show. I like that. I was actually just talking to Journey like 2 weeks ago. That would be really cool. Journey's awesome guy. He's doing some really cool stuff in his life right now. Obviously, has a little daughter. He was Journey Brown. If you guys just watched I forgot to mention him, man. But when I mentioned that a lot of Letterman and former players, all that type of stuff, reached out to me when I was going through my retirement. Journey Brown was a big one. That was a piece of that, because he pretty much was like the same exact thing. Obviously, it was his heart, not his head, but it was the same thing. Having to be done with playing, it's not easy to digest at all. And so Journey Brown, me and him had a bunch of different phone calls, and he was really kind of helping me through that time period. So that is a great one. I would absolutely love to get him on soon. Yeah, while we're here, guys, I'll write these notes down. Comment some people you would want to see. That can be current players, former players. You guys know I do a lot of Letterman interviews and that type of thing. So now that we are officially into the offseason, today is the last day that there is any football around. We're going to be doing a lot more interviews. Obviously, when we were in season, I was doing a lot of film breakdowns, pregame, postgame shows. But now we are going to get back into the interview realm. We'll do a little bit of film breakdown. I'm really excited. I'm taking a little bit of a break from the film breakdown. It's like, hey, let's chill out. It's football season is over. But like in the next like week or like 2 weeks, I'm going to release Abdul Carter, the evolution of Abdul Carter's pass rush. Because I'll tell you guys, like, I went back and watched the film, and you guys remember everybody was calling for Abdul to be put back at linebacker until like week 6. His pass rush move sucked. Like, it was amazing. And I think Deion Barnes deserves so much more credit for what he did. I've never seen in-season development like Abdul Carter. Like, his just moves, and it wasn't even just like how he executed them. It was his understanding of how to set up the move. Like, that was that next level. And to see him do that in season is extremely impressive. Yeah, that's cool. We got to get some NFL guys. I'll definitely get Chop on. I'll hit up Jahan. I bet Jahan would definitely do it. KJ, I like that one for sure. I want to try to get Dan Connor on. Dan's kind of active on Twitter. You guys see, he throws like memes out there. I like his style. That would be me as a coach for sure. I'd probably be too active on Twitter. I'm not gonna lie. Probably get in a little bit of trouble if I was coaching under James Franklin. He probably wouldn't like that. That's why I decided to go this route. Everybody asked me, hey, you should coach. You should coach. That's all I see under the film breakdowns. Nah, I'm good, man. I like to be able to say what I want on Twitter. Imagine if I could have tweeted how I tweet now while I was a player. That would have been something. I would have loved to see that. We would love to see Joe Jaravicious. Ooh, that's a good one. Okay, yeah. Obviously, we just had Caroline Jaravicious all on. I'll have to text Joe about that. He would be a great one. He's a absolute baller. I remember when I met Joe Jaravicious, it was the craziest thing. It was at the Illinois game this year, and I go up and someone introduced me to him, and they're like, "Yo, this is Joe." And I'm like, "Oh, what's up?" They're like, "Yeah, he was on the '94 not the national championship team, but the Rose Bowl team." And I'm like, "Jaravicious?" And they're like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "You're like 6'4", and he's like built like he looked like Kyle Brady. I just met Kyle Brady the night before. I'm like, "Yo, you're built just like Kyle Brady. You played wide receiver?" He's like, "Yeah, I did." I'm like, "Nah, that's ridiculous." Get Olu on the show. Yeah, we'll get an update with Lou. Definitely get an update with Lou. You guys know that's my guy. I played next to Lou for a while there. Or Abdul Carter. I was talking about, I want to get Jalen Reed on the show too. We've been meaning to do that. Me and Jalen have been meaning to do that for a while. We've been talking about it. We'll get some of the guys going into the draft. Michael Motti is definitely one. I'm going to talk to Motti. We talk all the time. I'm going to get Motti on here for sure. We got to get Michael Motti on because I want to talk to him. Like, I like to interview these guys and kind of learn about the past of Penn State myself. And like, we know what Michael Madi was and meant to this program. So I would love to get Madi on. I'm on top of that one for sure. Oh, you know, it'd be a good one. I think I'm gonna get Pat Fryermuth. We'll talk. We'll talk about this one, guys. We'll put a lot of this in the works, and we'll check it out. You mentioned that. I'm excited about watching Olu and Chop play against each other for 2 times a year, because I don't really know. I'm not sure if they really played too much against each other, because I know Olu wasn't playing a ton at the beginning of the year because they had 2 veteran tackles there. Will Fries. Oh, where is that? Hold on. 2 seconds. I'm not going anywhere. Give me 2 seconds. Brought these into the studio. Oh, hold up. I am absolutely working on John Schaefer right now, actually. That's really funny you guys say that. I'm working on that because it was eerily similar. I don't think anybody else, there's no one else that's been in the shoes of Drew Aller as well as John Schaefer. But look, speaking of Will Fries, I have his nameplate in my oh crap. Sorry guys. I'm gonna hang this up. This is like the little nameplate when they're like doing the depth chart. I don't know why I have this. Someone took it, but it's like, so when everybody leaves, anytime, these are hung up. Those are hung up in the locker room and whatnot. So it's like tradition, whether someone leaves for the draft or someone transfers, you like grab their thing. I have this of myself actually at my house right now. And then you also have these little ones. So I have this one in here. But it's like tradition to like grab those whenever someone leaves. I just wanted to show you guys that. So maybe we're kind of sculpting the studio. As you see, we're a little bit bare right now. But as we get in the off season, I'm going to put a little more time into this and figure this out. Oh, what happened to Will Fries? I didn't even know he got injured. You have to let me know. But yeah, I think we'll definitely get some. Yeah, no. Oh, he mentioned Cooper Cousins. I definitely want to get Cooper Cousins on soon. We're going to do a lot. No, you guys know me. We're doing stuff that no one else is doing. We're going to get into it. We're going to have a good time. And we're going to do a lot of different interviews. So make sure you guys follow me on Twitter at Landon Tangwall. I'll be putting stuff out on there, and I'll definitely ask for you guys recommendations on there as well as we kind of get into this thing. As far as what we have coming up soon, my favorite, I'm going to make a video. Larry Stavish asked general manager thoughts on Penn State. I got a video coming shortly on that one. But a video that I have coming before that, a lot of you have asked me questions about where should I donate? Should I donate to Happy Valley United? You know, there is now this thing called the Excellence Fund that is all through the university. I think there's a lot of confusion about the new rules. I am coming out with the NIL Conversations video. If you are an OG of the channel, I did 2 of those. I did one with Nate Bauer. Shout out Nate Bauer, hashtag, whale. My man dropped the whale in there. And who was the other one? I think it was Mike Poorman. I think I had Mike Poorman on. But we were doing an NIL Conversations episode number 3. It's been about 6 months. I did not do it in season. But it's going to be all about, I'm not going to tell you guys where to donate, but I am going to give you guys all the facts. NIL lacks so much transparency. And you guys know that's my number one thing. Being honest, giving the facts, and then let you guys decide what you want to do with your money. So I'm going to give you all the facts on Happy Valley United, the little details of where your money goes. And that's going to be the big thing. I'm going to explain where your money goes with each option. And one of the options, you don't really know where it's going. So like I said, we're going to get into it. We're going to save that for this week. That'll probably be the next time you guys hear from me. I'm probably going to record that. Probably going to record it tomorrow. So most likely will probably be out Tuesday. Was not planning on making this video, obviously. It was a little bit of a shock there. But yeah, you guys will get a really cool NIL Conversations video. Like I said, I put a lot of time into that. I was working while I was on the beach with my feet in the sand. I was scrolling, reading NIL articles, reading things about, the courts and Congress getting involved. Like, I'm going to give you guys the update on all that type of stuff. So don't even worry about that. And then later this month, I'm still working out the dates. We have obviously another Cigar Den video where we're going to have a Letterman on. It's a little bit harder because obviously I have to get guys that are in person in State College. Now, I am hoping to try to catch guys when they come into town, so I'm working on that. But we'll have one of those. We'll have a couple different car ride videos. I know everybody really liked Training Table. Nick Dawkins is going to be the guest for the next Training Table. I haven't had Dawk on for a while. He was my first ever guest on the channel, actually. Those of you that know, Dawk is pretty much my best friend. So that's going to be really fun. We're just going to like chop it up. It's going to be just two buddies catching up. The student bookstore event will be Dom DeLuca. So that will be fun. We will have that. Both of those will be later in the month a little bit. So yeah, got some cool stuff coming at you guys. That about wraps it up. If you're coming in late, yes, Juwan Seider left for Notre Dame. Nick and Katron, I do believe they are safe. Nothing is absolute. But yes, I think we are fine with them. And we are going to be just fine. Talk about a fan cast. Interview from a fan perspective of the program. Everybody has their opinions, but I'd love to join a cast to talk about the team I love and give an outside looking in. I like that idea. No, well, like I said, I always want to get your guys' opinions on that type of thing. I'm telling you what I will have is Zakee Wheatley Sr. That one's going to be fun. I've been talking to him about that for a while. We just got to figure out a date and time. I'll probably just go back to Maryland. We'll just probably do it. Maybe we'll do it on his front porch or something like that with a bottle of bourbon. We'll figure it out. But I'm hoping to actually get Zakee Wheatley Sr. in for a Cigar Den video, because it doesn't always have to be Letterman. Like, I'm going to mix it up. It can be kind of that type of thing. So we're going to try to get the parents' perspective. We're going to cover everything that you guys have not seen. Trust and believe. You guys know I'm always trying to come out with new, fresh, different content. We're going to do it all season long, all off season long. And then as we get back into the regular season, it'll be fun. And I think some people had some questions right before. We're about done. I'm going to let you guys go enjoy your Super Bowl Sunday. I'm still going to cover Penn State mainly. You're going to see me do a little bit of other college football things, but I'm Penn State. I'm staying here. I'm going to be very involved. So, appreciate and love you guys. You guys are the best. I am not going anywhere, but you'll just see me do a little more coverage of other things as well. But we'll still have film breakdowns next year. I'm going to do a film breakdown on my channel. And then also, if you don't follow For the Bloggy, go follow them. I'm going to be doing some film breakdowns for them too after the games. So you'll still be getting a ton of content from me. But I appreciate you guys. I love you. Y'all are the best ever. Can't even thank you enough. And we will be just fine. Trust and believe. And follow me on Twitter. I will keep you guys updated on this running back coach search. We were going to be all good. So much love, guys. Enjoy that Super Bowl Sunday. I'm just going to say, hey, listen, I hope the Eagles win. Saquon, Jahan, let's do it. Let's finish this thing off. Have a good Sunday. Much love. Enjoy, guys.